The Philadelphia Eagles news cycle just took a turn that few fans were ready for, and it didn't come from a trade, a draft rumor, or a front office quote. It came from Dallas, from the Cowboys, and from a move that feels personal, strategic, and deeply symbolic inside the NFC East. Because this isn't just about a coaching hire. This is about a rival stepping into Philadelphia's building, taking a key piece of its defensive structure, and doing it openly, almost provocatively. The Dallas Cowboys didn't just hire a new defensive coordinator, they stole him from the Eagles. Christian Parker is now in Dallas, and the implications of that move go far beyond one name on a staff chart. Parker wasn't just another assistant. He wasn't just a background coach. He was part of the core defensive brain trust in Philadelphia. Passing game coordinator, secondary coach, a direct product of the Vic Fangio coaching tree. A man deeply involved in how the Eagles built and developed their defensive identity over the last 2 seasons. And now he's gone, to their biggest rival. This isn't coincidence. This isn't random. This is strategic. The Cowboys didn't just look for a coordinator, they went behind enemy lines, and that changes the tone of the rivalry. Because when a division rival hires someone like Christian Parker, they're not just hiring knowledge, they're hiring insight. They're hiring familiarity. They're hiring scheme memory. They're hiring tendencies, language, structure, and philosophy. They're hiring inside understanding of how the Eagles think defensively. And that's what makes this move uncomfortable. Christian Parker is not just connected to Vic Fangio, he is part of Fangio's coaching lineage. They've coached together since their time in Denver. They've shared defensive philosophy, structure, terminology, and systems. That matters in the NFL more than fans realize. Because modern defenses aren't just about talent, they're about architecture. They're about how you structure coverage, how you disguise pressure, how you rotate safeties, how you manipulate quarterback reads, how you build your passing defense identity. Parker was part of that structure in Philadelphia. And now Dallas has access to that knowledge, but it gets deeper. Christian Parker wasn't just learning, he was developing players. He helped shape the growth of Quinyon Mitchell. He helped develop Cooper, DeJean. He played a direct role in building the Eagles' young secondary core. Before that, in Denver, he helped turn Patrick Surtain II into an All-Pro. He coached Justin Simmons into elite status. He built real defensive backs, not just schemes. This is a coach who develops talent, not just manages it. And now he's doing that in Dallas. From the Cowboys' perspective, this is brilliant. They weaken a division rival. They strengthen their own staff. They tap into the Vic Fangio defensive system. They gain insight into the Eagles' defensive structure. They get a young coordinator with modern development philosophy. It's a power move. And from the Eagles' perspective, it's a warning sign. Because this comes at a very sensitive moment for the franchise. Philadelphia is already in a transitional phase. They're restructuring the offense. They're replacing their offensive coordinator. They're dealing with roster questions. They're managing post-playoff emotional fallout. They're redefining identity on both sides of the ball. And now, they lose a key defensive mind to Dallas. That creates instability, not chaos, but vulnerability. And in the NFL, vulnerability gets attacked. This move also exposes something deeper. Dallas is being aggressive again. For years, the Cowboys were criticized for being reactive, conservative, safe, passive. But this hire is not safe. This hire is bold. This hire is targeted. This hire is symbolic. It sends a message. We're not just building our team. We're weakening yours. That's division warfare. And it matters. Christian Parker didn't win this job easily either. He beat out multiple strong candidates, coaches with experience, former head coaches, coordinators from other teams, established names. Dallas chose him intentionally. Not because he's famous, not because he's flashy, but because he fits their vision. Because they believe he represents the next generation of defensive coaching. Young, analytical, development-focused, modern structure, adaptive systems, player growth mindset. That's the profile. Now flip the perspective. What does this say about the Eagles? It says 2 things at once. First, their staff is respected. Second, their staff is vulnerable. When rivals start hiring your people, it means your system works. But it also means your system is being exported. And when that export goes directly to your biggest rival, it creates competitive imbalance. Dallas now understands more about Philadelphia's defensive DNA than they did before. Not just film, philosophy. Not just tendencies, structure. Not just schemes, logic. That matters in division games. That matters in game planning. That matters in playoff matchups. That matters in preparation cycles. But there's another layer here that fans shouldn't ignore. This move also reflects a shift in power psychology inside the NFC East. Dallas is acting confident, proactive, aggressive, strategic. Philadelphia is restructuring, adjusting, rebuilding layers, recalibrating identity. When one team is consolidating and the other is reconfiguring, timing matters. This hire didn't happen randomly in the calendar. It happened during Eagles' transition. And transitions are when organizations are most exposed. This also creates internal consequences. Losing a coach like Parker doesn't just remove a name, it removes continuity. It disrupts player relationships. It disrupts development pipelines. It disrupts learning curves. It disrupts communication structures. It disrupts trust systems. Young defensive players who were developing under Parker now have to adjust. New voices, new methods, new systems, new coaching style. That takes time. And in the NFL, time is competitive currency. Now add the emotional layer. This isn't just Dallas hiring a coach, it's Dallas stealing one. That matters to fan psychology, to locker room perception, to rivalry culture. It feels like an attack, not a transaction. And in the NFC East, perception becomes reality quickly. This move will be talked about all offseason. It will be framed in rivalry narratives. It will be used in media discourse. It will become part of the Eagles-Cowboys storyline. And those storylines affect pressure. They affect expectations. They affect identity. The Cowboys' own announcement made that clear. They framed it as going behind enemy lines. They framed it as weakening a rival. They framed it as a strategic extraction of knowledge. That language matters. They wanted this to feel symbolic. Now, here's the deeper truth. Christian Parker might not call plays. He might not be the face of the defense. He might not be a media personality. But influence in football doesn't come from microphones. It comes from meetings, from film rooms, from development sessions, from game planning rooms, from player trust, from scheme architecture. And Parker lives in those rooms. That's where power exists. So this isn't a flashy hire. It's a structural hire. The kind that shifts foundations quietly. The kind that doesn't trend on social media immediately, but shows up in performance 6 months later. The kind that changes how teams think, not just how they line up. For Eagles fans, this should raise questions. Not panic, but awareness. Who replaces him? What continuity is lost? What structure is disrupted? What development pipelines change? What internal systems shift? Because when staff members leave, systems leave with them. And finally, zoom out. This move represents something bigger than one hire. It shows that the Eagles are now in a phase where their infrastructure is being targeted. Not just their players, not just their roster, but their brains, their coaching tree, their development pipeline, their structural knowledge. That's what happens when a team becomes successful. Others try to copy it, others try to extract it, others try to weaken it, and Dallas just made that explicit. They didn't hide it. They didn't sugarcoat it. They embraced it. This wasn't quiet. This wasn't subtle. This was deliberate. So this is more than a coaching hire. It's a signal that the rivalry is shifting from talent wars to intelligence wars, from roster battles to infrastructure battles, from players on the field to minds behind the field. And in modern football, those battles decide eras. Christian Parker leaving Philadelphia for Dallas might not dominate headlines the way a star trade would, but structurally, strategically, competitively, this is one of the most meaningful moves of the offseason so far, because sometimes the most dangerous moves aren't loud, they're quiet, they're calculated, they're surgical, and they change everything without anyone noticing at first.